Good morning, everybody. We're getting ready to start here in a little bit. Just a few housekeeping comments before we get started. I guess first and foremost, thanks to everybody for being here that showed up. We don't have lots of numbers this year, so the show will move along rather quickly. But yeah, we'll certainly just try to keep good pace for those of you that have pigs, multiple pigs, or pigs in back-to-back classes. That way we're not trying to rush through things by any stretch. As far as the sale is concerned, well, I should back up. So it's not listed on the printout, but what we're going to do is after the first two classes of purebred show, we're going to select a division. D1 purebred after class 2, and then we're going to do the same thing after 3 and 4 show. So we'll have a D1 pure and a D2 pure, and then we'll do the same thing in the crosses. We'll select a Division 1 crossbred and a Division 2 crossbred, and then those 4 division winners will come back for the champion drive. So we have to get to 10 for the auction, and by having 4 division winners out in the ring, it just speeds up our process of bringing back those that are eligible to be, a potential sale maker at that point in time. So we'll be very clear in our announcements when we get to that point. But please keep in mind that if you have the first or second in class 1 of purebreds, you need to be sticking around because you're going to come right back in to be in that Division 1 drive after class 2 shows. After the show is over, we're going to be handing out a folder to the 10 exhibitors that made the sale. So please be timely in your turnaround on getting that submitted. There's some paperwork in there in regards to what we announce about you in the auction Friday evening, as well as some other things. So please, if you get one of those folders, be sure to get that filled out and get it back to us in a timely fashion. We do offer for pigs to hit the truck after the show is over if you choose not to take them home. We want to be pretty timely in that transition. So right here by the ring, we've got this double set of pins that are empty. So my ask of you is that if you don't make the sale, but you want your pig on the truck, that you relocate them to this double set of pins up here. That way we can kind of congregate those animals for when we go to load them out here this afternoon. The bid on those is 26 cents. So do with that as you will. 26 cents a pound on the hoof. So if you want to take your pigs home and you designated them as a yes, you have to let us know that sooner rather than later. And then if you are moving your pig over to this area to hit the truck, you also need to let one of us know so we can jot down those ear tags so we're accounting for all of those pigs when we go to load them out. So we appreciate, again, everybody being here. It'll be a great morning. Like I said, we're going to move through it in a systematical way. We're not going to rush through things by any stretch, but we'll have ourselves a good show. So if you have any clarifying questions, please grab me as we get started here. But at this point in time, it's first call for Class 1 purebreds. We'll get started here in about 5 minutes. So first call, Class 1 purebreds.
As we start our show this morning, join me in welcoming our judge, Will Taylor. Will is from Ames, Iowa, but he grew up in Indiana, where he competitively showed pigs and market lambs. He graduated from Lincoln Land Community College and Western Illinois University. He held internships with the National Swine Registry and Sunglode Feeds. He received his master's in animal science from Iowa State University and is currently the assistant teaching professor and livestock judging coach at Iowa State while finishing his PhD.
Well, first off, good morning. I'm excited to be here and looking forward to sorting through a good set of pigs. We may not have a lot, but the first class certainly indicates that it's going to be a quality show. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to be good with the kids and work through them in an according fashion. I think this pair is really good and fun to study, and then the trio that remains also has a lot of value. I debated this pair for quite a bit of time because I think each of them are different in what they bring to the table. The Duroc bear is stronger coming and going. He's squarer in his chest and bigger in his foot, his arm, and his ankle. And then as he goes away, he's bulkier in terms of the spread to his hip and the mass to his rear leg. I think at the same time, that bear is not quite as intriguing from the side. He's got a little crest at the top of his neck there, and he's not just as unique in terms of his softness of body, but I thought ultimately that's the dense, broad show bear that I want to tie to, that's equipped with a great shape out of the backside of his shoulder and a great great spread to his upper pin set. I think that bear is just a little stouter and broader in terms of his genuine skeleton. Now, to say I don't like this Berkshire from the side would be a lie, because I think when he transitions to a profile, his view of proportions, angles, and balance are very, very good. I love his softness of body. I love his pliability, and I just love his general symmetry. I think it was as he come right at me, I didn't think he was strong enough in his arm and his ankle as he went right away. I didn't think he had enough genuine width to his lower skeleton, but the upper half of his skeleton is very, very good and very bold. Barra here in third comes at you, and I thought squareness of chest was really, really good. I thought at the same time he was the most upright in his shoulder blade, and then as he got in behind him, he was one that rolled and pushed in terms of his stifle, and I didn't see him secure enough in the way that he was built, both in terms of length and shape to his hip. But a very nice square-backed bear that's got a really neat look from the side and a broad chest. Young lady has a Hampshire appearing bear that is as pliable and soft as anything that I think we'll see today. He is really good in terms of moderation, and his softness of body is so full and so broad. Same time, when he comes right at you, he's a little low set in terms of his sternum. He's a little lower set in terms of his front end, and I don't see him with the same kind of elevation and maturity of the ones that precede him. Young man that rounds out the class here does an excellent job showing a Duroc bear that I think is tall-fronted. He's higher at the point of his shoulder and neater in terms of his look than the one that precedes him. I think at the same time, that bear is flatter in terms of his genuine skeleton. He's more closed up at the base of his skeleton, and then he's also more closed up in terms of his foot bone and feature. But a nice bear to round out a very good class. Let's congratulate all those exhibitors as they go ahead and exit, please.
First place in Class 1 goes to Mara White. Second, Sam Jansen. Third, Ella Regelstad. Fourth, Brooklyn Sommer. And fifth, Jacob Sommer. At this time, we'd like to say thank you to a few of our sponsors today. A show ring sponsor is Iowa Quality Meats. And one of our some of our elite level sponsors are CNB, First Premier Bank, and Premier Bank Card. Thank you guys so much.
Very nice class in the second class of the first division of purebreds here. And the barra that wins, I think, wins because that's the highest quality show barra in this particular ring. I think that barra has the right height at the top of his shoulder. He's got the right length of body and the right comfort to his skeleton. He's bulky and massive when you get in behind him, yet he's square when he comes right at you. I think that barra has a nice look from the side. I could clean his skull up just a little bit and then make him just a little heavier in terms of his front ankle, but I think that barra is a smooth build, very nice barra to go ahead and start in this particular class. I thought the debate was between 2, 3, and 4, to be quite honest with you. In this particular class, the young lady winds up in 2 because that barra from the side balances and proportions the next best in terms of his lines and in terms of his look from the side. I think at the same time, when you step right in behind him, that barra needs more punch in the seat of his pants. He needs more spread to his rear skeleton, and he needs a little bit more looseness to his build. I do think that that barra has a nice look from the side, and I appreciate that. A bulky, massive show barra comes next. He's big in terms of his chest. He's big in terms of his rear hip. He's big in terms of his upper back. Same time, I can't see him just transitioning right in his lower body. I don't see him looking the part in terms of just the way he's filled build and the way he's put together in terms of presentation. The young man right here has a bear that I actually like a lot of things about. He's big in his upper skeleton. He's soft in terms of his lower body. He's productive in his look. I couldn't get past the view of him coming right at you. I thought he closed in his chest and didn't have enough real spread to his ankle and front arm, and I thought he could use just a little bit more punch from behind. But that bear is big up high, got a great look from the side. Young man's doing a great job fighting him there. I think a very good showman. Let's congratulate all those exhibitors as they go ahead and exit, please.
We'll now move to select Division I purebred. We are going to pick 5 within this first division, so if you had a third place, please stick around. We'll likely need you here shortly. So first and seconds, work your way up here for D1, and thirds be on standby.
If you are missing a phone and maybe left it in the restroom, I have a phone up here, a picture of 2 people maybe playing laser tag, canvas notification. So if you want to come get that, it'll be at the announcer table over here. Results from Class 2, first place went to Maverick Rule, second, Kylie Hackbart, third, Sam Jansen, and fourth, Brecken Sheets. We are now selecting for champion and reserve division.
Very good set of pures out here, and honestly, I think that this set of pures is very nice all the way through, and very fun to study and just work through. And I wanted to take my time and make sure that I figured these out and describe them appropriately, because I think that they are valuable in that discussion and worthwhile from that discussion standpoint. I think the pair that's in the ring, a pair of Durocs that I think have a lot of value, and so I'm just going to talk about each of them individually, tell you what I saw and where I'm at on this particular pair of Duroc Barras. The young ladies that won the first class, when he comes at you, he's broad in his chest and big in terms of his arm. His back is dense, his back is bold, and he's spread awesome in terms of his upper skeleton and the shape to his upper rib cage. I think that bear is really good in terms of his upper hip, and I like the spread to his pin set. I think when you work to the lower part of his skeleton, you have to ask yourself, where do you sit in terms of his width at the base of his hock, and is he just perfect in that regard, and does he have enough just look and presence from the side, because he's a little cresty about the top of his head, and you just wonder if he's perfect from that regard. This young man's bear that won the second class, I do think that bear is loose in his skeleton. He's good in terms of his look, and he's nice in terms of his proportions. I think at the same time, he's the one that has the advantage in terms of true, genuine skeletal width at the base of his rear skeleton. I think that favors him in this particular pair. I think as you study him coming right at you, he'll turn his front feet in, and he'll start to turn in terms of his skeleton. He's got a little crest at the top of his head, and he's a little wrinkly about the top of his skull, and I don't see him just as inflated in terms of his spread and his mass, but I think that bear has quality pieces. I think it's a great decision. I'm going to opt to keep them dense and bold off into either end of their skeleton. Young lady right here, have your champion in this division.
Congratulations to Mara White, Champion 1 Division Champion.
Drop the reserve, the second out here for contention for reserve. I told you he is awesome from the side, great in terms of his look and proportions. His body's filled perfectly. I didn't know if he had enough feature in class. I still think there's another one that pushed her champion really hard. Young man's second class winner will be your reserve in this division.
And reserve goes to Maverick Rule.
Drop our second behind our reserve out, and I told you just a second ago, proportions and balance from the side, really, really good. I don't know if he has enough genuine skeletal width off either end, but I certainly think he's got a nice look from the side. Another one that pushed him hard. I'll just shake hands from here on out for our top 5. Third overall, going to be the young man with the Berkshire.
Can we have our third places up to the ring? Okay, we'll just review our results from Division 1. Champion again went to Mara White. Reserve, Maverick Rule. Third, Sam Jansen. Fourth, Kylie Hackbart. And fifth, Ella Regelstad.
Very, very nice class out here in our first class of the heavy division of purebreds. And the young man's Hampshire bear right here is going to be your class winner. That bear is big armed. He's good proportioned. He's awesome skeleton. He's got a huge foot and huge feature. Everything fits into him, and then he's genuine off either end. I like that bear pretty well. Big back, huge hipped, and great pinned. Describe the Chester bear that comes next in this particular class. I thought he got just a little dry in terms of his center rib and cut up in his flank right there. But I think that bear is one whose back is spread awesome and his hip is so wide and so powerful. The young lady that comes in 3 here, I think has one that from the side, his pliability of rib, his softness of build, and his just softness of rib is really good. I think that bear is actually built pretty loose in terms of his hip and hind leg. I thought it was the view that him coming at me that probably concerned me. He's a little flat and tender on his front feet, and he doesn't have the power to his head and skull that I want, but that's a good kind of Duroc bear. The young lady that closes here, her Duroc Guilty is one that I like in terms of just depth of body and softness. I think she's a good kind in terms of the fundamentals. I think that particular female is one that has a nice look. She's too flat in terms of her chest and narrow in terms of her hip, but I do think that that's a good kind of pig. Let's congratulate all those exhibitors as they go ahead and exit, please.
Results from Class 3. First place goes to Maverick Rule. Second, Sam Jansen. Third, Thatcher Warning. And fourth, Brooklyn Sommer. Can we get our class winners from class number 3 up to the ring for division champion after the selection of our class winners from class number 4?
I tell you what, we get into this particular class, and there's 3 Hampshire bears here that I think have a lot of value. I think that they have a lot of things that they do well. And honestly, I stood and studied for quite some time because I think each of them are different, and each of them bring a piece that I really like, and then a piece that really concerns me. And I'll be honest with you, I want to take all 3 of these Hampshire bears and just jam them together, and then we'd have the ideal Hampshire hog from my perspective and in my opinion. The young lady over there in the corner is going to have your class winner in this particular class, because I think that bear is one that's loose in his skeleton. I think he's loose in his build. He's comfortable in his range of motion, and athleticism is really, really nice. I think that bear is soft-bodied. I think he's pliable, and I think he's the most appropriate in terms of his skeletal angles. Now, my initial view of that bear was from behind, where I need to clean up the seam of his hip and the seam of his ham right there, and I need to intensify his bone. But I think at the same time, he's just a loose-made, comfortable build Hampshire bear that has a lot of pieces of quality and just withstood the drive really, really long out here. I think he has the most freshness in terms of his design. My initial read was to like this bear that's going to wind up in second, because he is monster-footed, monster-legged, monster-armed, got a great shape to his back, and just has a big hind leg that still stays in check and within himself in terms of his skeleton. I love this bear from his shoulder blade back. I think at the same time, when you start to study his head, he's got dish to his face and crest to the top of his neck. I didn't see him fresh enough at the base of his hip, but I certainly think that's a big, bold, stout bear that does a lot of things really, really well. If you like them elevated and just tall-shouldered and so neat in terms of their height and just right in terms of their length ratio, this bear is absolutely for you. From my perspective, as he comes right at you, he gets the littlest in terms of his front ankle and the longest in terms of his head, and I don't see that bear just good enough in terms of his rear skeleton. I thought he was a little dry in terms of his rib, but I like that bear's elevation. I like his height, and I like what he represents from those regards. It pains me to put a bear like this forth, because he is so good in terms of his balance. He's so good in terms of his proportions, and within this breed, to have body and mass and still do it in a comfortable skeleton is very, very unique. All 4 of his feet point the right direction, and that has a lot of value to me right now. I think at the same time, he's one that closes at the base of his hip and runs out of foot and feature. Young lady's Hampshire appearing gilt, tall-shouldered, long-bodied, and good in terms of weight, and I like that about that pig. Same time, I think she gets a little dry in terms of her lower body and a little long for her to be able to balance and proportion appropriately. But a very, very nice class and a very nice way to round out that class. Let's congratulate all those exhibitors, please.
Congratulations to Class 4 winner McLean Ignell. Second goes to Sam Jansen. Third, McLean Ignell. Fourth, Brecken Sheets. And fifth, Brenna Sommer. We will now be selecting for champion and reserve division.
let's start for a round of applause for our heavyweight Hampshire exhibit or heavyweight purebred exhibitors. Very nice classes leading up to this in a very nice division. I really, really think that this is a good set. And honestly, I'm having a blast. It's a laid-back environment, a very good pig show, and just a lot of fun to study and sort through. I think that there's been a set of them that really impress me and really suit me very, very well. I think at the same time, there's a class that's memorable to me in terms of just putting together quality and putting together a lot of very, very fun, enjoyable pieces. Young ladies, heavyweight will be your champion in this division. Drop the second behind our eventual champion out. I told you just a second ago what I thought of that bear. I think he's darn near ideal from his shoulder blade back. I don't know where I sit on his head. The one that won the first class there, boy, to put together Hampshires that have his squareness and just his look and presence and just design, I think is very good. I do think that he has a lot of the pieces of our second with maybe a little better head, but it's a very close decision. I like the young man there to be your reserve in this division. Hey,
Results from Division 2. Champion goes to McLean Ignell. Reserve, Maverick Rule. Third, Sam Jansen. Fourth, McLean Ignell. And fifth, Brecken Sheets.
Very nice class here in our first class of lightweight crosses. Blue Barrel wins for fun. Big feet, big legs, neat look, awesome squareness of skeleton. Everything's in check. A very good pig to start. I thought there was a debate between 2 and 3 in this particular class, and both of them have their individual advantages. Ultimately, I said the 1 and 2 is sharper about his head, neck, and crest. He's taller about his shoulder, runs more uphill, and allows himself to balance in proportion just a notch better from the side. I think he's shaped awesome and really fresh out of the backside of his shoulder. I don't love his length to hip or the way he uses his rear ankle, but I do think that bear is better from there forward and just does it in a fresher package in all those regards. The young lady that's going to be in third has the broader, denser made one that I think is just a little bulkier up high. I also think that he's a little lower about his front end set, a little deeper about his throat and head, and then he turns his front feet in and doesn't maintain as much security behind. But I do think that bear has more broadness of build and spread. Young man comes out and he's got us one that's tall shouldered. He's got us one that's sharp back and really good in terms of length of body. I think he's a little upright in his shoulder, a little closed up as he comes at you, and then doesn't use his hind leg just perfectly from my perspective. The one that closes, I really like the young man's job showing this bear. I think he's soft-ribbed. I think he's pliable. I think he's all those things. He's a little bit narrower and flatter as he comes right at you. I don't see him just as bold and opened up as he goes away. But a nice bear to close out a very good class. Let's congratulate all those exhibitors as they go ahead and exit, please.
Results from Class 5. First place goes to Maverick Rule. Second, McLean Ignell. Third, Mara White. Fourth, Colby Darling. And fifth, Braxton Dite.
Hey, I think this pair is close, and I think this pair is a pair that makes you think and makes you just think about where you're at and what you want to do and what you want to represent and just the different kinds. I'm going to describe them, tell you how I saw them, and tell you where I'm at on each of them individually. Young man's bear come at me, and his width of chest spread to his blade and shape up high was what I want to tie to in terms of what show bears should have. His height at the point of his shoulders really, really good, and he transitions fresh from there back. I think he has two things that probably just bug me a little. Is he perfect in how his neck comes out of the top of his shoulder? No, and he's a little deep about his throat and in the front of his head. And then as he goes away, I wouldn't call him narrow, but I don't think he's shaped just as expressively as what I want. And then he'll step his rear foot just a little wide relative to that. But I thought his view coming at me and the shape to his body was really, really good in tandem with his elevation. Now, this one that's in second is really intriguing to me because he shoots a long neck high to the top side of a perfectly shaped shoulder, and his angles are so good, and he's so interesting in terms of his looseness of build and looseness of rear ankle, and then he goes away really square in terms of his hip and hind leg. As he comes right at you, his chest isn't broad enough, and his front ankle's not quite big enough, and then I didn't think that he was just as unique in terms of height of shoulder, but I do think that's a good kind of pig that has a lot of value and just a lot of interesting pieces to be there in second. 3 comes next, and he is the measurable pig of this particular class. He's the biggest footed, biggest legged, biggest back, best shaped, and biggest in terms of his hip. I thought he was one that got up in his spine, right there in the middle of his spine. He never picks his head up right out of his shoulder, and then he doesn't use his hind leg just as well as what I wanted. But he's got big measurables, and I appreciate that. Huge up high, describe the bear that comes next in this particular class. His upper skeleton is spread awesome, and I like that about him. He didn't match just good enough at the base of his skeleton, and that become my concern. Young man that comes next is wider in terms of his chest. I thought he was a little staler in terms of his appearance and a little bit staler in terms of his kind. And then the young man that closes does a great job with one that I think's really loose in his skeleton and a good kind of pig. He's just too plain out of the backside of his shoulder. Very nice class. Let's congratulate all those exhibitors as they go ahead and exit, please.
Results from Class 6. First place goes to McQuaid Bear. Second, McLean Ignell. Third, Colby Darling. Fourth, Nevaeh Nielsen. Okay. Fifth is Colby Darling, and sixth goes to Blake Ostenik. Can we get those seconds on deck out of classes 5 and 6, please?
Very nice division here in the first division of crosses. And honestly, each of these pigs are good in their own right, and they bring a lot of things to the table. The young man's first class winner is giant-legged. His skeleton's assembled appropriately. He has the right proportions and the right length of body. He's muscular behind. He's not the softest middled pig I've ever seen in my life, but he's good in terms of his freshness and his athleticism. The one that coming out of the second class, big-chested, broad-made up front, and very good in terms of elevation. Like I told you a second ago, he dries out just a little low in his lower hip, but a good pig to win the second class. I think it's a nice debate. There was never a question in my mind. Young man's first class winner be your champion in this division. dropped the second behind our eventual champion out, and he fits the bill. He's good in terms of his height. He's good in terms of his height to shoulder. His freshness ahead is very good. I think out here you have to ask yourself, is there enough right there in his mid-body, and is there enough right there? I think it becomes a debate for reserve. I'll show you my second, third, fourth, and fifth favorites. Let's congratulate these kids one more time as I go show you my reserve in this division.
Results from that division: champion goes to Maverick Rule, reserve McWade Bear, third McLean Ignell, fourth McLean Ignell, and fifth Mara White. We'd like to take the time to thank some more of our sponsors, our trophy level sponsors: Farm Credit Services of America, Dakota Bank, Poet, Sioux Valley Energy, and Prairie Farms. We'd also like to thank our banner sponsors, Sanford Health, and friends of the show sponsors, Julie and Greg Hammer.
Nice to get a little positive reinforcement on occasion. The young man's pumped to win his class, and I'm pumped about his bear. He's a big, stout, wide one that's got some body and mass. His upper rib cage is shaped good, and he still keeps his skeleton in check. A nice bear to go ahead and win this particular class. The young lady that's in second has one that's really tall-shouldered and neat-made. He's got a nice look in front of his blade. I don't think he has enough spread as he comes right at you. He runs out of lower rib and gets a little tight in terms of his rear ankle, but he's a nice bear in terms of elevation and look. A bigger, broader one comes next in this calico right here. He's big in his upper spread. His rib cage is shaped awesome, and he's got turn to his hip. I think at the same time, that bear gets a little closed up in his lower skeleton, a little long about his head, and then he steps just a notch wide as he goes directly away. I thought it was close between 4 and 5, and I told myself this young man's in 4 is really good shaped. He's really good in terms of his turn up high. His expression of muscle is awesome. At the same time, he pushes his stifle just a little bit and gets a little shovey in terms of his rear skeleton. If you like him comfortable and tall-shouldered, this black-headed one is without a doubt for you. I think that bear is tall and neat. He's just a little plain in his shape. He's a little nondescript out of the backside of his shoulder, and then I think he'll roll on his edges just a notch, but a nice bear to close a really good class. Let's congratulate all those exhibitors as they go ahead and exit, please.
Results from Class 7. First, Brecken Sheets. Second, Mara White. Third, McQuaid Bear. Fourth, Alex Nielsen. And fifth, Caleb Hackbart.
I actually think this class presents some challenge because the black bear is one that I just think's a good pig. I mean, he's tall-shouldered, he's fresh-backed, he's square out of the backside of his shoulder. Either end of his skeleton is loose and functional, and he's good and in check from a build standpoint. My problem is I don't know from a bone, foot, feature, head shape standpoint if that's the kind of pig I always tie to, but I do think he's the best kind in this particular class. The one that I wanted to be drawn toward is this belted, white rear-footed one that's going to be in second because his blade and density of back is really good. I like the shape and stoutness to his head and skull. I think that bear is broad up high and really good in a lot of regards. Ultimately, I said he's developing a little bit of a fat flank there. He reaches forward in his shoulder, and then he's not just overwhelmingly powerful when I got him behind him, but I do think he's heavy-featured and good in a lot of regards. I thought it was really close between 3 and 4. Ultimately, this is the taller shouldered one that actually drops softer in terms of his body. He didn't have enough width to work forward in this class. Young man has a gilt that's huge-footed, huge-legged, really stout-skulled, and got some neat pieces. She cuts up in her flank and dries out in terms of her body, and I didn't think had just enough softness for me. But a nice way to round out our class and our show ultimately. Let's give those kids a big round of applause, please.
Congratulations to our Class 8 winners. First place goes to McQuaid Bear. Second, Thatcher Warning. Third, Blake Ostenik. And fourth, Carter Ross. Again, we'd like to thank our judge today, Will Taylor. Will Taylor is from Ames, Iowa. He grew up in central Indiana, where he competitively showed pigs and market lambs. He graduated from Lincoln Land Community College and Western Illinois University and held internships with the National Swine Registry and Sunglow Feeds. He also received his master's in animal science from Iowa State University and is currently an assistant teaching professor and the livestock judging coach at Iowa State while finishing up his PhD. Let's give Will Taylor a round of applause for his work today.
Well, it's been a fun show and a fun last division. I'll tell you what, I think the set of pigs is really good, and I'm proud of what we've assembled here. I'm going to talk about these two class winners, and then I'll put the mic down and show you my top 5 in this last division. The first class winner there, just to talk about him, he's dense up high. He's got a beautiful shape and a stout head, and I like that about him. He's bold off either end of his skeleton. He's maybe not the tallest fronted or just the most fresh, athletic one we've ever seen, but he's bold and he's dense where he needs to be. I like that. The second class there, he actually steps in. He's taller at the point of his shoulder. He's sharper out of the edge of his back, and he's a little neater about his head. But like I said, that bear in terms of density is probably not right where I want to be at. I think he's just a little taller version in terms of height. But like I said, I could just expand him everywhere. Great pair. The young man right here will have your division winner.
We get our thirds from class number 8 up to the ring, please. Can we get both of our division from purebreds and the first division from crossbreds up to the ring, please?
Well, first off, let's start with a big round of applause for all these kids, please. That was pretty weak. A big round of applause for all these kids, please. Here's the deal. I understand I'm not who you plan to show to. I understand that it takes a lot to come here and it takes a lot of effort and a lot of time to put into this project. And my hat's off to you guys for continuing to come. This is an excellent show. It's excellent ran. People care about this show, and I'm darn proud that you guys are here. Let's give the people that put this show a big round of applause, please. Been an awesome show. Truly enjoyed it. There's one that I think suits me very well, fits me to a T. Big-legged and neat in terms of his design, yet comfortable and loose. Young man's Blue Bear over there in the corner will be your grand champion.
Just to preface what I mentioned earlier before the show started, you will be getting a red folder as a top 10 placer or a sale maker. The sale is tomorrow. Please get the information in that folder filled out and returned up here into the loft to the ladies up there. So please do that in a timely fashion. Again, if you're sending your pigs to market, we've got this double row right here. So please move your pigs to that area if you do so. Thanks.
Well, this is the last time I'll grab the mic during the show portion. A tremendous show, very fun to put together and very enjoyable in a lot of regards. There's a great set of pigs out here that I think are tremendous and I think represent a lot of very, very good things. I think among them, there's another one that hit me well in terms of substance and spread and everything matching appropriately. I think a very good pig in his own right. The reserve in that division cross right there will be a reserve grand. Well, this will be the last time that I grab the mic, and I'm just going to assemble a sale order from here on out. One more time, thanks for having me. Enjoyed being out here, and we still got showmanship to get through. My third favorite, young ladies, at third in the crosses there will be your next one.
Can we make sure our third and fourth places are getting up to the ring just so we can keep things moving as smoothly and as quickly as possible? Thank you. Fourth overall, McLeaning now, if you could get yours up to the ring. Okay, we will not be taking a break between this and showmanship. So if you could be making your way to the ring as quickly as possible, that would be great.
I'm going to the bathroom quick, but I'll be back.
Just so everyone knows, we will be starting with senior showmanship.
Well, an outstanding set of senior showmen out here, and each of them do something very, very good. I'm going to have them all park quickly, and then I'll kind of point at each of them and talk about their style and what I like about it, and we'll just work from there. This young lady right here with the Duroc Bear is going to drive out first, and just drive your pig while I talk, if you don't mind. I think she does a tremendous job of managing her ring and the whip, and just maintains eye contact. She has a really graceful presence out here, and it allows her to be seamless. I could maybe be a little bit more aggressive in terms of what she does at times, but I think she's a really smooth, fun showman to watch. This young lady in the red shirt, I think, is one that is just a bit more aggressive. She's a bit more aggressive in how she handles the whip, and she's one that I probably saw just a nickel more. At the same time, from my perspective, I want her to manage her whip just a little bit better. I really like a soft touch and just a really fundamental touch to that whip, and I wish she was just a little bit better from that regard. This young lady with the red bear that's going to drive next here, I think is one that does a tremendous job of being soft and light with her touches, yet very, very effective. I think at times she faded to the back just a notch, and I didn't think was as effective in quickly getting me the views, but a tremendous job. This young lady has great eye contact and tremendous in terms of her intensity of showmanship. I think at times she drives that bear just a little faster than what he wants to go, but I think at the same time she's one that's really easy to watch and really fun from that standpoint. The young man with the Berkshire over there, I think is one that's smooth. I think he's a comfortable showman. I think that he's one that manages his whip very well and just is not one that's overly aggressive, but always positioned extremely, extremely well. This young man, I love his intensity of posture. He is the most intense from a posture standpoint. I love that about him, and I love showmen that are level with the ground, and I think that he does a tremendous job from that perspective. I think at times it's actually his posture that pushes his whip just a little harder, and I wish we could soften from that particular regard just a nickel at times out here. This young lady does an outstanding, outstanding job of getting in front of me. I think she does a great job of making long, even passes. I think at times her Barra didn't want to lift his head as much, and it caused her to maybe get a little bit more aggressive, but a tremendous job. Let's drive them all one more time. I'll show you my champion, and then I'll show you my reserve. Big round of applause for all these kids, please. Well, let's give these three exhibitors a big round of applause for their job in showmanship. I think that there's an excellent set of showmen. I'm going to talk about each of them individually in no particular order. And this young man in the red plaid shirt, young man is so consistent. He's so easy to watch, and he's so calm, cool, and collected out here. He's easy in terms of how he uses the ring. He's the most effective in terms of staying in front of me and consistency of long passes. I think he does a tremendous job. He's maybe not as intense as a couple of his contemporaries, but he just does a really good job of making long, easy passes. If I could tell him one thing to work on, when you come to those turns, make sure you get big, wide turns that are long and arcing, and so those pigs don't have to stop and pivot on their rear legs, but you do a tremendous job of making long passes. The young man over there with the black bear, when he makes a good pass down the center of the ring, it's as strong as anybody. I love his ability to position the pig's head. That's the best in this particular division, and his ability to present his pig is the best. I'm a firm believer in that. He's maybe not overwhelming from an eye contact standpoint, but I don't need him to stare me down, and I think true stockmen study their pig while they drive just as much as they study the judge, but tremendous in terms of positioning the pig and presenting the pig. The young man with the red one over there, I will tell you, I love how he manages the whip. I love his aggressive nature. He drives that barra quick, and he gets out here and goes and likes to go at a quick pace. I think that's absolutely awesome of him. I think at the same time, he can be just a little bit more aggressive than his contemporaries and get a little heavier in terms of his whip, but a tremendous, tremendous job. I do think there's a showman that sticks out, in my personal opinion. Young man's going to be your champion in this particular division. Young man over there is going to be a reserve. Let's congratulate all three of these exhibitors on an outstanding, outstanding job.
We'd again like to congratulate all of our Market Hog exhibitors and thank Mr. Will Taylor for being the judge at the 2025 Sioux Empire Livestock Show. And as a reminder, we do need pictures for all top 10 Market Hogs, so if you could be making your way back to the backdrop, we'd appreciate it. Congratulations and thank you guys again.
We got a single entry here in our beginner division, and this young man is going to be the champion beginner showman. Let's give him a big round of applause, please. Awesome work to him. We did a little showmanship practice in practice driving. He does a tremendous job, has done a tremendous job all day. A great showman with a bright future, a great way to round out our show. One more big round of applause for him. Thanks for having me.
If you have attention in the barn, if you have a pig that did not make the top 10, but you are wanting to put it on the truck, please relocate those pigs now, as soon as you can, right here to this double set of pins. We've got signs here that say sold pigs to load on the truck, but please relocate those pigs here to this area so we can get a count of how many that is. Thank you.